Hello, hello, hello. This is CRP speaking to you live. And this is an impromptu live stream that I decided this morning that fuck yeah, I was going to do this shit because this is funny shit. This is really funny shit. And I mean, how can I put this? I'm not a drama channel, not usually. Yeah. Oddly enough, most of the drama that I've ever been involved in, I was kind of like at the center of it. Yeah. But this is, I have no involvement whatsoever in this drama, but I just want to talk about it because it's just completely dominated my attention. And at the same time, I realize that there are some really important lessons to be learned. Perhaps I'm just claiming that to justify the fact that I'm going to be talking about this shit show, and I'm being completely disingenuous, but this shit is funny. I mean, come on, man. Like a manosphere grifter, mm, who turns out to be a cuck and an amateur porn star. Yeah. I mean, this is just you can't script this shit. Okay. This is real life. Okay. I mean, I used to be a professional writer. I used to work in fucking Hollywood. And I'm telling you, man, this kind of shit, you can't script it. Only reality can bring you stories like this, man. It's fucking funny. Yeah. So before I get going, let me just make sure that you all can see and hear me and all the rest of it. So why don't you hit me with a +333 in the chat to make sure that everything is copacetic on your end insofar as hearing me and seeing me and all that shit. You should see my face on the left hand of your screen with my very big glasses. Shit, man, they're all kinds of weird, right? And on the right, it should say Jack Murphy, R.I.P. Yeah, poor fucking bastard, man. I mean, I do feel sorry for him. Yeah, but not that fucking sorry. Not so sorry that I'm not gonna laugh and talk about it. Man, this is funny. This is funny shit. So anyway, cheers to you all. Yeah, I'm seeing here in the chat that you all can see and hear me quite well. That's great. Mm, you know, and I'm not one to beat around the bush, so I'm going to get right to it. Let me just. Oh, and as usual, where is Tiffany Dover? Can I get the chat to type out that sentence? Where is Tiffany Dover? I'd really appreciate it if you guys would type out that very simple statement, because even in this ridiculous a live stream that I'm doing, right? Because this is really ridiculous. Come on. Even in something as foolish and ridiculous as this live stream, we should always remember Tiffany Dover. And we should always ask, where is Tiffany Dover? Is she in a good place? Where is she? Where is Tiffany Dover? And for those of you who don't know who Tiffany Dover is, well, Google her. It's not that fucking hard now, is it? Huh? You got fingers, you got a brain. Go on the internet, Google it, and find out where is Tiffany Dover. Because she hasn't been seen for a fact since December of 2020, over a year ago. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, let's get started. I'm going to leave that crawl up there for the whole broadcast. And if you don't like it, you can fuck off. You can go away and, jerk off or, torture little gerbils or whatever the fuck you want to do, But I am going to leave that crawl right there. I'm going to minimize my face. Maybe I'll wink out. I mean, you fuckers don't really need to see me. So, yeah. Who is Jack Murphy? I'm going to describe that right now. Okay, so let's get cracking. Jack Murphy. Okay, cuckold and amateur porn star. You should be seeing on the right of your screen a picture of old Jackie Boy. His actual name is John Goldman. I'll get to his bio in just a little bit. But before I get started, I want to do like a full disclosure. Because it's always important that you guys, the audience, knows where the speaker stands on any given subject, right? And on this particular subject, I don't know John, quote, Jack Murphy Goldman. That's his actual name, John Goldman. I don't know him. I've never interacted with him, but as far as I can tell at this time, we don't have any mutuals. That is, we don't have any mutual friends. I'm sure if I start asking far and wide enough, I'll come across somebody, but nobody who knows him has contacted me or told me anything or anything of the sort. All of this information that I'm going to be discussing is publicly available. It's out there, right? And it's just fucking funny. But anyway, so this shit is out there. I don't have any kind of insider information. If you're looking for that, you've come to the wrong place. But I did come across some juicy tidbits. And I'm gonna be playing them, man, because it's just fucking funny. Yeah, and if I do a lot of coach laughing, well, it's because it's fucking funny, man. Jesus, right? Now, a lot of internet celebrities are talking about the story. I would argue obsessed by it, as I was, as I am, quite frankly. I mean, come on, for me to motivate to do this whole fucking presentation, yeah, fine, sure. It's a dead week between Christmas and New Year's, yeah. But still, I've got other better shit to do. In fact, I was you might have noticed my shirt. I'm all like dusty and shit. Let me just show you dumb losers. There I am. Hang on. I don't know if you can see me. I'm all like dusty and shit because I've been like fucking around on my monster desk, sanding the fucking thing with power tools. Jesus, the dust everywhere, man. I mean, it looked ridiculous. But Coach Sexy, I know. I know. And I just got sexy just for you. Anyway, let's get talking. So, why are the internet celebrities obsessed with this story? Well, Schadenfreude for one. Okay, there are a lot of people who just don't like Jack Murphy. He's not a popular guy. There are some guys in the manosphere and in this area of the internet, sort of like conservative commentaries, semi-political, kind of like servicing the young men of the internet, because that's what we all do. Our audience is overlapping because we cater to more or less the same audience. Young guys, mostly guys. I mean, my audience is 97% male, and most of them young. 2/3 of my audience is under the age of 32, I believe. And so yeah, we have a lot of overlap. Political, lifestyle. I suppose I'm lifestyle. I don't know. And you know, Jack Murphy, aka John Goldman. Well, in this neck of the woods of the internet, he's just not popular. Now, in general, the manosphere is really despised at this time because the manosphere. Let's define terms. It's always useful to define terms. The manosphere includes the men's rights activists. Those are basically divorced guys who got screwed over by the system. Then there are the pickup artist community, and they're basically trying to get laid. And then there are like the kind of like self improvement gurus kind of thing. Now, I personally probably fall in that self improvement guru type category, even though I don't have like a program of self improvement or shit like that, But I'm kind of like in that area of the manosphere, though I personally have tried to stay away from them because let me see, wow, it's going to come on 5 years ago, 4 years and change. I was interacting with some MGTOW guy. MGTOW is also part of the manosphere. And this MGTOW guy, he was like living out in Thailand. I forget the name of the guy, but he had MGTOW in his name, right? And we were talking, and I did a live stream with him. This was back when I was a small channel. I mean, like 5,000 subscribers, something like that. And this guy, we got to talking, and he was like living out in Thailand, and he was telling people, "Don't get married. Marriage is evil." Blah blah, all kinds of shit. And then I asked him, well, what's your personal life? And he's like, "Oh, I'm married. I have a couple of kids." And I said, wait, but you're telling everybody not to get married and so forth. And then, very quickly, and without me even really pushing him, it just came out that he's basically pushing a big grift, just making money off of his audience, and telling them not to get married and how MGTOW is the only way, men going their own way, fuck women, all that shit, right? But he himself was not living up to those precepts. I mean, that kind of opportunism, there's a lot of that in the manosphere. I mean, a lot of it. And a lot of people who, I mean, such as myself, we kind of like despise that. I mean, you guys know, and if you don't, I'm here to tell you that I started my channel because I wanted to do videos for my kid. Because I have a small son. Right now, he's 6 years old, and I'm 53. And so the odds are pretty good that I'm going to be either senile or dead by the time he's a grown man needing some good advice. And that's why I started doing my videos. And I was planning on shutting the whole thing down back in 2018, but then the channel took off. And then, it just started getting like a grind. And that's why earlier or late last year in November of this year, 2021, I deleted all my channels, and I'm trying to figure out what exactly I'm going to be doing, but that's not important. The important thing is that, see, the manosphere in general is not really liked even by some people such as myself who are a part of it, because there's opportunism. There's a lot of rabid but insincere misogyny. Okay. And the reason that they do this is to attract teeny boppers and incels. And think of it, a guy goes on YouTube and starts saying women are all whores and blah blah blah, and just shitting on them, and they're all evil and they have all the power and they're fucking everybody over, and that's how they try to get an audience, and this happens all the time. Then there's a lot of what I call macho men, okay, and they're bullshit. And you can spot these fuckers a mile away because the first thing they say is, "You have to lift, lift, lift." Fucking retards, if you ask me. I mean, it's so fucking cringe and stupid. How much do you lift? Fucking idiot. I don't define my worth as a man or a human being by how much I fucking lift, you imbecile. I mean, these fuckers, right? They're just, ugh. I can't really stand them, okay? Because self-improvement is perfectly fine. I'm not against it. Of course not. That'd be ridiculous. And self-improvement by way of lifting weights and whatnot, perfectly legitimate and perfectly fine. But to claim that you are worthless unless you do, X number of reps of whatever weight or whatever machine or whatever the fuck, that's stupid. Okay. I mean, it's just flat out dumb. uh Reading books and good books is more important. I mean, it's an absurd standard to measure. By that measure, Arnold Schwarzenegger would be the greatest man to walk the earth. I mean, of course, it's just stupid, and there's also something vaguely creepy about that whole macho man kind of thing. Yeah, you've seen them, right? They're kind of like let me just show you real quick. They're kind of like, "Oh, hi, man. How much do you lift? Because you gotta lift, man. Oh, yeah." And like, eh, I can't imitate people, so I'm not even gonna try. But you get the point. It's fucking retarded. So anyway, there's a macho man bullshit. And also, what I don't like about them is that so many of them kind of like steal crap from other people, smarter people who have figured out a lot of stuff, and you know, sort of like pass it off as their own, or use it in a way that's kind of robotic, that they don't really understand it. Mhm. And there's that phrase, amused mastery, and I'm going to get to that phrase in a little bit because Jack Murphy here, old Jackie boy or Johnny boy, as the case may be, well, he used it in a very interesting moment that I want to highlight because I think it's indicative of something. Okay, so all right, the other thing about Manosphere that's despised is that there's a lot of fucking grifting. And like I said, become a real man in 3 easy payments of 99.99. Yeah, it's just, they're just trying to sucker people out of their money. Desperate guys, okay? Desperate guys who are looking for a fix to their lack of personal success or their lack of romantic success. Just willing to pay anything to alleviate their loneliness. And that's the thing that really bothers me, because a lot of this grifting is playing on the fact that a lot of these guys in our audience are very, very lonely people. They're very lonely. They don't have much of a family life or any family life. Their parents and whatnot, siblings, none around. They might be in a faraway city from where they grew up, and they have really nobody there except their job. They don't have a girlfriend. I mean, they're lonely guys, and it often seems to me that a lot of this grifting is playing off of that loneliness and basically telling them, give me $100, $1,000 or more, and I'll alleviate your loneliness, which I think is fucking low. And I think that that's why a lot of people in the manosphere kind of like a lot of people in our neck of the woods of the internet kind of like despise the manosphere in general and guys like Jack Murphy in particular. Mhm. There's also the there but for the grace of God go I phenomenon. Because, like, see, a lot of e-celebs, they're worried about their own indiscretions that they might come out. Okay, because we've all done stupid shit. I mean, come on, right? It's part of growing up. You do all kinds of stupid shit. In my own case, I'm 53 years old, so the really stupid shit, it was way before the internet existed, man. And there's no fucking video, no fucking picture, none of it of the really dumb shit that I did back in the day. Thank God, I count myself lucky in that score. There are a lot of guys who are younger, who are in their late 20s, early 30s, who are, sort of like coming up in the world of the e-celebritydom, and they're kind of fucked because they got shit that they wrote or said, and it can get tied to them, and they wrote or said or did something really fucking stupid. And come on, everybody who's like 17, 19, 21 does stupid, stupid shit. Okay. The man you are at 29, for instance, compared to the man you were at 19, it's night and day. Okay. And so a lot of these celebs, they're kind of like, oh, let's hope that they don't catch me. Let's hope that they don't find that video. Let's hope they don't find that blog post or whatever. And so when it happens to somebody else, like it's happening to old Jackie Boy here, everybody just points the finger, laughs almost hysterically, sweating bullets, wondering, when are they going to catch me? When are they going to catch me? And so they laugh harder and they point harder and they bring up the issue more and more to distract from their own little boo-boos in their past. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, that's part of the reason all these internet celebrities are talking about this shit. You go on your YouTube feed, especially on YouTube for some reason, and this shit is like wall to wall. Everybody's doing fucking videos about this shit. So why the fuck not? It's funny. Anyway, yeah, that's the final reason. That's the final reason that everybody's obsessing about this shit, because it's fucking funny. Okay, I mean, come on, man, this is fucking funny shit. Yeah, a guy who's pushing the fact that, like, you can, I can teach you how to be a man's man. I can teach you how to be an apex alpha male. I love the word apex, because it's not just alpha male. No, it's apex alpha male. Yeah. What are you? Are you a Batex alpha male? Then you're not the right kind of alpha male, fucker. No, you got to be an apex. Yeah. Because if you're not first, you're last, Yeah. Apex alpha. And he's selling this bullshit, right? It turns out that he's into cuckoldry, he's into homosexuality, he's into amateur porn. Oh man, I'm gonna be doing a lot of coach laughing, and you fuckers are just gonna have to put up with it, man, because this shit is fucking funny. So anyway, that's why we're all kind of like obsessed with this shit and talking about it. And yeah, so here we go. So for those of you living under a rock, let me tell you the story of old Jackie Boy, Jack Murphy, and this whole shit show, because it's fucking funny. Let me see, which one would be better, this one or that one? Okay, let's do that one. Okay, fine. Okay, no, I don't want to show my face on camera, because then I can't. Yeah, it's just not worth it, really. Okay, so Jack Murphy. Now he's born John Goldman by his own admission. Now there, right off the bat, I'm not keen on it, right? Because, like, see, there are people who are on the internet and they use a pseudonym. I mean, come on, Coach Red Pill, right? But it's a pseudonym. It's fucking obvious, right? Or I don't know. Back in the day, there was Edgy Sphinx, and there's what you call it, Sargon of Akkad, and there's Mr. Medicare and Aiden Paladin. Everybody has like their pseudonyms, and they're obviously pseudonyms. But here, Mr. John Goldman here came up with Jack Murphy. It's irrelevant that he claims that it was his grandfather's name. That could well be true, but the thing is, it gives the impression that his name is actually Jack Murphy, right? Because Jack Murphy is just a regular name. It's not obviously a pseudonym. And you hear the words Jack Murphy and you figure, oh, he's a regular guy. Far from being a regular guy. He's a fucking degenerate, right? And a fucking yuck. But anyway, oh yeah, and the other thing I forgot to mention in the full disclosure, not only do I not know him, I offered him to come on my channel to go through everything, to go and have a discussion on this shit. Okay, I have not heard back from him, and let me be real fast, just to be absolutely positively sure. And nope, he has not responded. Although he has, I can see that the little check mark there is blue, so he did see the messages that I sent him, but he has not responded. And I'll leave my Twitter DMs open in case he does want to respond and does want to hop on and so forth. But anyway, as I was saying, I really don't like the fact that his pseudonym sounds like a regular guy's name. I mean, if he'd called himself, Mr. Sunshine or whatever the fuck, some random name, I'd be like, oh, that's fine because it's like a real pseudonym. But when you call yourself like a name, it's sort of like you're trying to hide who you are, which is understandable on the one hand. But on the other hand, it's like a marketing ploy, which I'm not that keen on. Anyway, it's unclear. I haven't been able to really pin down the issue of whether he was born in 1969 or 1975. It doesn't really matter. He's roughly the same age. I mean, between 69 and 75, it's the same ballpark. And yeah, he's a podcaster who only got big because of his guests, not his message. Now, that's perfectly fine. I mean, shit, the biggest podcaster on the planet, Joe Rogan, he got big because of his guests too. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that business model. But the thing is, see, Jack Murphy here, John Goldman. Okay, so he is getting big by bringing on guests, and some of them are pretty big. Okay, but the thing is, see, at the same time, he has this membership website called The Liminal Order. The Liminal Order is going to teach you how to be more masculine. Okay. Now, that's different from just a regular podcast who brings on good guests like Joe Rogan. I mean, Joe Rogan is not selling you some program to be like more masculine like Joe Rogan, right? I mean, whatever you might think of Joe Rogan, he's like a guy's guy, but he's not selling some program to be that. I mean, he's selling his Prager grills or some shit like that, right? Which is perfectly fine. Prager grills or some other name like that, whatever. He's selling grills. That's fine. Okay. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. And I don't think anybody does either. But when you're selling like a membership in some program that you're going to teach people to be a certain way, well, then you have some sort of message, right? Well, yeah, but this guy doesn't have a message. He got big just because he got good guests. And what you start to realize when you start even just casually looking at this liminal order shit, it's just that, he's recycling all kinds of shit from other writers, other better writers. Okay. Other better writers who wrote blogs and wrote books and whatnot, and who put these this information and these insights out there. And he's sort of like copy pasted all this shit and packaged it, and he sells it. And he sells it for $100 a month, $1,000 a year, and $3,990 for a lifetime membership. Oh boy, man, I'm going to get me that lifetime membership because I really need to know what it is to be more masculine. Because, dude, I'm not that masculine. No, I'm not. Yeah, and I need Jack Murphy, aka John Goldman, to tell me how to be more masculine. Huh? Oh man, what a crock of shit. Okay. The thing is also, see, like, what exactly is more masculine? Huh? You ask these guys, all these fucking grifters. Huh? And they'll tell you the superficial aspects of being more masculine. Oh, that you have a deeper voice, that you speak with a deep and slow cadence so that people know that you're important. And you slightly over enunciate so that people know that what you have to say is manly and profound. Chat, hit me with a +1 if you think my voice is more manly. And hit me with a what the fuck are you talking about if you think it's just absurd. But that's kind of like the bullshit that they're selling. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like the superficial aspects of who you are determine your masculinity, how manly you are. Now, in my own case, the kind of content that I created, I've thought long and hard about the issue of what it is to be a man and what it is to be masculine. And my thinking has always been one line, and I'll say it now, and I've said it countless times before, that the difference between men and every other creature on earth, the difference between men and women, the difference between men and a lot of other males of the Homo sapiens species is that men control their emotions and don't allow their emotions to dictate their actions, either in the short term, the medium term, or the long term. See, it is perfectly natural, and we are all hardwired, as a matter of fact, to respond to our emotions. Fight or flight, baby. Yeah, evolution taught us to either fight or run away. But a man, he controls that impulse of fight or flight and figures out what is the best course of action. And sometimes the best course of action is to not run away and fight, even though you might lose, but in the end, medium and long term, you win. Like, for instance, when you stand up against a bully who's going to beat the shit out of you, but by standing up to him, other people are going to respect you more and know that they can't really push you around. They might be able to beat the shit out of you, but they're not going to be able to push you around. A man makes that decision the rational decision, the decision of controlling his emotion and using his reason, his logic, his acquired knowledge, and his experience to determine his course of action. That's what I have defined as being a man. But this fucker is just saying, "Oh, being more masculine." What the fuck does that mean? It's just empty and hollow. It means absolutely nothing if you can't explain it. And that's the thing. These a lot of these fuckers, a lot of these grifter type people, like John Goldman, aka Jack Murphy, are just fucking grifters. And I don't have a problem telling him because it's true. He doesn't have any kind of insight as to the topic. He's just grabbed a lot of concepts from different people, melded them together, and he's pushing this shit. Okay, so anyway, he's like I said before, he's all about teaching men to be apex alpha males, which is dumb. Okay, because again, it's all superficial. Big muscles, deep voice, all that bullshit. See, I always think of Woody Allen. Woody Allen for me is like the epitome of what it is to be a man. And a lot of you are going to say, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Because Woody Allen from his movies. He's this small, nebbishy, slightly neurotic individual, right? In his movies. The real Woody Allen, of course, is not like that at all. He's playing a caricature. And from multiple sources, people have said that Woody Allen is the guy with the biggest balls in all of Hollywood. He's like ice cold, and he takes his shots like a pool shark, and he always gets what he wants, always. Back in the 60s, he shoved aside Warren Beatty. Warren Beatty, back in 65, he was like a really attractive guy. He was like on top of the hill in Hollywood, right? In 65, he shoved him aside to take over the movie What's Up, Doc? Okay. He stole Diane Keaton back when Diane Keaton was blazingly hot. He stole her from Al Pacino back when Al Pacino was young and incredibly attractive back in the Godfather days. He stole her, and she was his fuck buddy for a few years until he got bored of her and kicked her to the curb. Yeah, and still remained friends with her. He's all kinds of alpha, right? But of course, not in a superficial sense. He's all kinds of manly because he's been able to get exactly what he's wanted, have complete autonomy in his pictures, do whatever the fuck he wants, and nobody fucks with him. See? That's alpha. Having a deep voice, a lot of muscles, and looming over people, and trying to get in their face, and like grabbing their hand to shake their hands and squeezing the fuck out of the hand and yanking the guy towards you to establish dominance. That's not fucking being a man. That's just the superficial aspects of a dominant male. Doesn't make you actually dominant. Look at fucking Donald Trump, for crying out loud. That fucker had all the exterior signs of being dominant. But when he was in the White House actually being president, he was a fucking cuck. He got manipulated by the rhinos and by all sorts of people. And on top of that, he got manipulated by his own desire to be liked by the fucking left wing, who would always hate him. He was so fucking weakling. He was the epitome of the beta male cuck. Yes, Donald Trump. Yeah, the guy who now is talking all kinds of talk about the vaccine and how he invented it and all that, and doesn't even fucking realize that he's being set up to take the fall for the adverse reactions to the vaccine. But that's another fucking podcast. Anyway, going back to this Jack Murphy, aka John Goldman person. See, the basic story. Okay, so the basic story, and you've probably seen it in a lot of different places, right? What's his face? Jack Murphy goes to Sydney Watson's podcast. Okay. I don't really know who Sydney Watson is. I mean, I have a vague notion. She's like this Twitter personality, but apparently she also has a podcast that's fairly popular, and apparently it's supported by Glenn Beck's outfit, The Blaze. But I don't really know anything about it. I don't really follow this shit. So, anything I say about Sydney Watson, I mean, she seems perfectly fine. I have nothing to say about her. But if I make any mistake about what she does or whatever, I'm sorry. I mean, I just don't pay attention to her. Huh? So anyway, but Jack Murphy has a meltdown because, see, Sydney Watson read some super chat on air, live apparently, and she read obviously live. She read the super chat, and Jack Murphy had a hissy fit and told her to fuck off. Heartfelt, as he said. That was just a beta move. Heartfelt. When I tell somebody to fuck off, I just tell them. I don't say fuck off, fuck you. Heartfelt. No, I don't. By my tone and my demeanor, people know it's heartfelt. Come on, man. Anyway, he has a meltdown, okay, over some super chat where the person who had made the super chat asked about some cuck article. Okay. And Sydney Watson didn't have a clear notion as to what the fuck it was. Okay. Jack Murphy has a complete meltdown. And of course, the Streisand effect ensued. Everybody looked up this article. Okay. And this article, man, holy fuck. Okay. Hang on. In this article, Jack Murphy boy is advocating, yeah, he's advocating cuckoldry. Yeah. Cultivating erotic energy from a surprising source. And what's lacking there is cuckoldry. Okay. That's the surprising source of this erotic energy. Okay. I, dude, you read the article, and in the article, he sort of like casually mentions that he's been involved in threesomes. Okay. But they're not like two girls and him. No, it's like two guys. And he says there that he's on multiple occasions watched his woman fuck some guy. Okay. I mean, the whole point of this fucking article, man, I'm not fucking kidding. You know, he is describing first person how he's at home writing this blog post while his 25-year-old girlfriend is out fucking a guy called Matt from Tinder, a younger guy. And he, what's his name? Jack Murphy here, old Jackie boy, says that he's never felt as hard and as manly. What the fuck, man? I mean, come on. Are you out of your fucking mind? I mean, dude. Okay. So anyway, that's the fucking article, right? And it's just all kinds of just cringy, right? And the thing is, in the article, he basically admits to the fact that he has, on more than a couple of occasions, apart from this Matt from Tinder event, he's watched his woman get fucked by other guys. Okay, and I mean, it's creepy as fuck. Okay, I mean, I don't know about you, you know, but in my own case, if the woman I'm with fucks another guy, I'd dump her instantly. I mean, I wouldn't even, by the time she gets to the end of her sentence, I'd be out the door. Okay. I mean, if a woman I'm with kisses another guy, I dump her instantly, no hesitation. And I was thinking about this. And have I ever been in a situation where a woman was trying to sort of like maneuver me so that she could have her cake and eat it too, i.e., you know, be with me and at the same time be with some other guy? Yes, twice. One time I was with some married woman back when I was in college, and another time, uh, shortly after college, I was involved with some chick from Johns Hopkins. And this chick, you know, she was basically seeing me and seeing some other guy. And I told her, baby, you got to make up your fucking mind, right? The married chick, I didn't mind so much because, according to her, it was a sexless marriage. I don't know if that was true or not. But insofar as the other chick, the Johns Hopkins chick, I told her, you know, make up your mind. And she's like, this is so unfair. And I'm like, okay, fine. And I left. Okay. The only time a woman that I have been with has kissed another male has been the mother of my children kissing our son. That's the only other time I've allowed it. Any other guy, any other situation, man, it's fucking cuckoldry, man. And I'll get to the point of it, okay, in just a second. But it's just like, dude. So anyway, he writes this article. Let me go through my outline. He wrote this article. This is 2015, right? That he posted this article on his blog. And at that time, he wasn't big. He was really just starting out, and he was getting kind of like nowhere. And my suspicion, this is pure speculation on my part. My suspicion is that, see, the Daily Beast wrote like a fairly celebrated article in 2010, posted rather, a celebrated article in 2010 of how cuckoldry is the thinking man's fetish. I mean, fuck that. I mean, I think I'm fairly thoughtful. I mean, I got the degrees that say that I'm pretty thoughtful, but no, you know, I have other fetishes, but cuckoldry is not one of them. And okay. So anyway, Daily Beast and Salon were pushing this agenda of cuckoldry. They were also pushing the whole pedophilia agenda, you know, and saying that, no, I'm not a pedophile. I'm minorly attracted. And you are bad because you called me a pedophile. What the fuck you talking about, man? I mean, that's the kind of article that they were posting, right? So anyway, I suspect that he got on that bandwagon, but this is pure speculation on my part. That he saw those articles and figured, oh, this is like the coming trend, and you know, I want to be hip and with it, and wrote this thing. I'm not, to tell you honest truth, I'm not really sure if he actually did go through with it. Okay. or it could be like some sort of weird lie, LARP about doing this. The kind of lie that when you tell and people, call you out on the behavior, you can't really back out of and say, "Oh, I was just lying." You can't say that. You know what I'm saying? It might be something like that. I don't know, but that's pure speculation on my part. Okay. Um, the article, which is, let's talk about that and focus on the facts. The article describes how his then girlfriend, now his fiance or wife, I'm not quite clear as to whether he's engaged to this woman, and she's pretty attractive, by the way, and I'll show her in just a little bit. If he's still engaged to this woman or he married her, either way, they are childless, and that's a fucking sign. And back then, she was his girlfriend of a couple of years, and she was off fucking Matt from Tinder, a younger guy, and he claimed that he had never felt so manly or so sexually aroused, which I don't get it. Okay. And you probably don't, because you're normal. You're completely normal if you don't get this. Okay. And if you do get it, seek help. Just seek a lot of fucking help. Okay. Anyway, in the article, he insisted how his girlfriend having sex with another man made him an apex alpha male. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It makes you a cuckold. Okay. And I'm going to talk about what it is to be a cuckold in a little bit. Okay. In the article, he describes performing cunnilingus on his just returned girlfriend. Okay. Which actually, I'm not sure if it was that article or another one. Okay. Actually, I'm not sure, because I read several of articles of this guy. And it was just this weird kind of like kind of article that tried to come across as sexually sophisticated and very manly TM, apex male TM, but at the same time just came across as kind of cucked. Bottom line, huh? Anyway, he described. Actually, I'm not sure it was in this article in particular. It might have been another one, but anyway, it doesn't matter. He describes performing cunnilingus on his just fucked girlfriend, which you can imagine what that means. I mean, really fucking disgusting shit, right? And in a podcast, he described how he performed water sports on his girlfriend after she returned from having sex with Matt. Now, chat, I have a question for you. Would you like to hear that recording? Please write yes, please, or write F no, because if you write fuck, the YouTube chat will delete you. So write yes, please, if you want to hear the recording of Jack admitting to playing water sports, or F no if you don't want to hear it. Okay, I'll wait for chat to catch up. Vamos, please. Oh, we have an international crowd. A lot of F no's. KA, JD, 1969, Antonio Balibanu. You are weak. You are weak because you refuse to face the reality of the world around us. And so I, as a service to you who say that you do not want to hear this, I, as a service to you, will show you this. Hang on, man. Let me just cue this shit up, because this shit is fucking funny. Okay. Oh yeah, of course I'm gonna fucking do it. Fash Bandicoot. This is funny shit. Okay. And here we go.
We've done this, that.
Well, here we go. Sorry about that. Let me start it again. Okay. And here, let me just stop it there so you can read it. Now, it says here, I'll read it for you if you can't see it for whatever reason, it's too small on your screen. It says, that Drexel episode is going to be lit. I found archives of a deleted podcast where Jack Murphy and his girlfriend talk about Matt from Tinder. She wasn't into him at all, didn't want to do it, and said the sex was terrible. After she got back, Jack pissed all over her to mark his territory. Now, that's accurate except for one part. He's actually not talking to her, apparently. Okay. I haven't been able to find the complete recording, but apparently it's like a host of a different podcast. It's not actually his girlfriend. Okay. And you'll see that when you actually hear the rest of it. But okay. And somebody, Visigoth is asking, mark his territory. Well, here it comes. Ready? Are you ready, chat? Here we go.
one night. I mean, we've done this. That particular circumstance maybe two or three times. Sometimes we experiment and play with water sports. Not everybody's into that, but
Explain to my listeners what water sports are.
water sports is urination.
Yeah.
And after this instance with Matt from Tinder, we came back to our house, and on the front steps of the house, I had her blow me. Right here in the neighborhood. It was late, so I wasn't going to run into the neighbors. And then, I peed all over her face and her body and her mouth right there on the front steps.
Yep.
And the sexual charge that comes from knowing that she just fucked somebody else is really intense.
Right. And then peeing on her is kind of claiming her back and humiliating her for it all at the same time, which is part of that kink. So
yeah, it absolutely is. And frankly, we don't really do water sports that often, but it's the times where she's come back from fucking somebody else or we've had a threesome or whatnot. That's when I'm most into it. And it's absolutely right. It's about marking her again, resubmitting her again, reclaiming her, reconfirming her position and reestablishing the power. And not only does it get me hard and like excited, it's getting me a little hard right now, actually.
I bet.
But
it's okay. I'm really wet too. So
it charges me creatively too. I mean, it just unleashed a torrent of writing and posts for me.
Awesome.
And it really just brought a lot of energy into me. And my go-to masturbation fantasy. I don't masturbate that often, but when I do, it usually involves some other guy fucking her.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
So, chat, was it as good for you as it was for me? Oh, by the way, I'd never done this before. So you guys, please, I'd ask you to please hit me with a +1 if you heard the sound properly and all the rest of it. I'm looking at chat and it seems that you all heard it properly. And let me hope that please hit me with a +1 if you heard it properly. Because if you didn't, I can play it for you again. Oh my God. Hit me. Yep. Everybody. Okay, great. Everybody heard it. Holy fucking shit, man. Huh? And by the way, if you notice, both people there, Jack Murphy and the hostess of this podcast, they referred to his girlfriend in the third person. So that's why I'm assuming that wasn't his girlfriend. Okay. Because the way they both spoke, it was like she wasn't there. And she wasn't the woman that Jack Murphy was talking to. And by the way, who picked up on the gay lisp? Hit me with a, lisp, just the word lisp, because if you put gay in the chat, they might censor it. But just put lisp, LISP, if you heard it, because I certainly heard it. Okay, lisp. Yes, exactly. Very good one, interdimensional lizard. Yeah, very much lisp. Yep, very gay. And that's something that's really interesting. In all of his blogs, he's very concerned that people don't think he's gay. My thinking is that he sucked a lot of fucking cock, And my suspicion, I can't prove this, but I suspect that a guy who sucks cock and swallows cum, it changes his voice somehow. Because every single guy who has that lisp, he's gay. Or it turns out later he's gay. Or has had like all kinds of just perverse sexual shit. Yeah. I mean, like gay sexual shit. Okay. Because I have never heard a straight degenerate guy with that lisp, a straight degenerate guy, like the kind of guy who's like, like Hunter Biden, for instance. I mean, that fucker is degenerate, right? Decadent, right? But I don't think he's gay. I think he just fucks girls and fucks whatever female hole crosses his path, including his, his nieces and perhaps children too, according to certain pictures and whatnot that have floated through the internet. But dude, yeah, I mean, this was, yeah. And the way he mentioned how there were like threesomes involved. He was watching while some other guy fucked his woman, but he didn't like get in on the action. pull out his throbbing cock and stick it in whatever hole was available at the time. Come on, I mean, fucking degenerate shit. I mean, I'll be honest with you, chat. I've done some decadent shit in my time. Like threesomes and anal sex on some girl who really didn't want it, but I convinced her. And all kinds of shit. But the kind of shit that he's talking about, like no, it's just, and I'll explain why, because it's always important to understand why you have a visceral reaction to something. And it's actually very simple. Okay. But I'm saving it for later. So you fuckers are just going to have to be patient and let me march through my whole presentation. Okay. I can't fucking believe I actually wrote up a fucking presentation. Well, it shows you what a fucking, square peg I actually am. Yeah. And by the way, water sports, I mean, urinating on your sexual partners, what the fuck is that? I mean, okay, let me just show my face here because I really want to discuss this with you, like sort of like face to face, if I can. I could never imagine peeing on a woman that I'm about to have sex with or have just had sex with. I cannot imagine it. It's like, why? You know? Um, and I think I'm about to show what a truly weird guy I am, because the first thing I think is, Jesus Christ, what a fucking mess that's going to be. Okay. I mean, forget about the woman's dignity and all that good shit, right? I mean, that too. But the thing that would be uppermost on my mind was, if I pee on her, it's going to be like a big fucking mess. If it's like in the fucking, bedroom and this shit splashes on the fucking mattress, that urine is going to soak right in. The mattress is going to smell like pee forever. I don't want that at all. I mean, that's what I'd be thinking. And I know that probably makes me all kinds of weird, quite apart from the fact that, just urinating on a woman, it just doesn't turn me on, and it's actually kind of interesting because who would you pee on? Somebody that you really despise and hate. It would never occur to me to pee on a woman ever. It never has. I mean, I've been fucking. The first time I fucked was on February 28th, 1981. And I know that date for a fact because it was the day of my birthday, because my birthday is February 29th. And that year, 81, there was no 29th. There was only a 28th. And I fucked my first girl. No, it wasn't a guy. It was a girl. And her name was Bitsy. And we'll leave it at that. And this was in Miami at a school there I was going to there. And anyway, the point. See, in the 40 years that I've been fucking, never once have I thought to myself, what would really turn me on? What would be really great? What would be really great? It would be to pee all over the girl that I'm fucking. Never. It has never occurred to me, ever. Okay? So anybody who does this shit, what the fuck, man? Okay. And quite apart from the whole issue of respecting the woman, and quite apart from all that shit, right? The PC bullshit, I respect your feelings crap, right? Quite apart from that, just the practical element, number one, of leaving a big old mess in wherever you're having sex, number one. And number two, it just doesn't sexually turn me on at all. In fact, it just turns me off. Okay. Yeah. A couple of times, of course, like in any kind of long-term sexual relationship, you will have times when you see your partner urinating. And it is the quickest way to turn you off if you're normal. Okay. You got to be some kind of decadent to be turned on by a woman's urination. Okay. Anyway, that's my thinking, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, moving on in this shit. Okay, Jesus Christ, man, yeah, fucking degenerate shit, man. Okay, so this incident, this article, right? The guy, the story. To recap the story, the guy has a hissy fit on Sydney Watson's podcast, right? He has a hissy fit, so everybody goes and reads the article. And the fucking idiot hadn't scrubbed it from his website when he had started this grift of, selling, manly men bullshit, apex alpha male shit to his audience. He should have fucking scrubbed his fucking website, right? his blog of all this bullshit. Anyway, he didn't. Everybody laughed at it, right? And he goes on Tim Pool. Now, I don't know why he went on Tim Pool of all places, right? I mean, Tim Pool, from what I understand, Tim Pool is supposed to like read the fucking news and comment on that. That's his fucking job, right? I mean, he said back in the day that he was going to set up a van and go around the country covering news on the spot. But in the end, you know, he just did the easy thing. And I'm not knocking him, you know, the easy thing of basically just setting up a studio in some nice location and reading the news and collecting a shit ton of money. Good on him. I don't have a problem with that. Okay. I mean, hey, he found a niche, very successful for him. Good on him. And I mean this sincerely. Okay. So, but the thing is, he talks about the news, about like current affairs and shit. So, what the fuck is he doing having Jack Murphy on? And that's the thing about Jack Murphy, aka John Goldman. Jack Murphy is very, very good at cultivating people. And that's how he achieved the position that he's got. He cultivated people. Okay. He, like I said, he doesn't have any kind of thoughtful discourse. He doesn't have any kind of worldview. I mean, like, for instance, I do. I have a clear worldview and I espouse it and it's coherent. And, you know, part of the fun for me of doing the whole internet shit has been sort of like discovering and articulating every nook and cranny of my worldview. Yeah, because a lot of times I think something sort of, and I haven't really sat down and thought it through carefully. And by doing videos, I have to do so. I have to do so and articulate my point of view on different issues. And that's part of the fun for me of doing my content. But he's not doing that. He's not coming up with ideas. He's not thinking through his own ideas. He's just grabbing other people's ideas and mashing them together and selling this shit. And so, of course, you know, he cultivated Tim Pool because Tim Pool obviously has a very large audience, and he was on Tim Pool's show a few times. And so he goes on Tim Pool to explain away the situation of him telling Sydney Watson to fuck off, because Sydney Watson is this very personable woman. I guess she looks like she's like 29 or 30, and she seems lovely. I have never interacted with her. I don't know her. I don't watch her show, but the little bits of it that I saw, she seemed like a lovely person. And Jack Murphy here, he told some small lies about what happened on Sydney Watson's show. I'm not even sure if they were properly lies or just slight mischaracterizations so that he would look better. Okay. And this is something that we all do. I mean, it's not something to throw a hissy fit over. But what happened was, after this interview on Tim Pool's show, right, where he tried to explain away everything. And oh yeah, and also the other thing is that Jack Murphy said something that let me just, I want you guys to look at my face when I describe this. So Jack Murphy goes on the show, right, on Tim Pool's show, and he's describing what happened, and he says how that what he should have done, he says, is that he should have used amused mastery to ignore Sydney. And that phrase that he used on Tim Pool's show really struck me. He used that phrase, amused mastery. Now, I forget who came up with it. Somebody from the pickup artist community. It might have been Rolo Tomasi, or it might have been Roosh V, or it might have been Roisy from Heartiste, right? Whoever it was. He used that phrase of amused mastery, but it was like a tool. Like how could I put it? Like he thought that what he had in front of him was sort of like a math problem, and he used the incorrect algorithm for the situation. See, it to me, it revealed a roboticism and, frankly, a lack of sincerity. And that's the thing that really struck me and bothered me very much. And it seems so trivial, because it is trivial. But see, James Joyce, in his concept of the epiphany, talked about a moment of shining forth. Okay, James Joyce, the Irish author, of course, wrote Finnegan's Wake and Ulysses and Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. He was always looking for epiphanies, and he described them as those moments of shining forth, of truth shining forth, the truth about a person or a situation. And he thought his literary theory, part of it at least, was the notion that a great work of art should be like a collection of epiphanies, a collection of moments of shining forth, which is a very interesting concept. And it's certainly influenced me because I've noticed a lot of times that certain little key phrases or key moments or key, just little tiny nuggets that people let slip, a lot of times reveal who they are. For instance, you're with some big shot, some real big shot, and he's like a big fat guy, he's like 60 years old or whatever the fuck, he's got like a piggy face and he's kind of nasty, right? And you meet with him for dinner, say, and it's like some business dinner, and you're like, oh man, I don't want to hang out with this pig, right? And the guy is really like a unpleasant guy, but when the waiter comes, he's polite and looks him in the eye when he orders, right? And is not dismissive of the waiter. And then you realize, oh, wait, that moment, the way he treated the waiter in that tiny little moment, that reveals something of this guy. And maybe he's different from what I thought, radically different. Maybe there's a whole universe within this guy, and I'm only seeing like a part of it. Okay, so the same thing happened with me and that phrase that Jack Murphy used of amused mastery when he was like trying to explain away what he should have done in that situation with Sydney Watson, where the cuck article had been brought up. He used that phrase, and I realized, he's completely insincere about any of the shit that he espouses. He's just utilitarian. He doesn't give a fuck about what he's saying. He's only saying it in order to get ahead. And you can say that what I'm saying here, that all of these inferences that I've arrived at based on this tiny little clue, is a little bit crazy. Well, I don't care if you think that, but that's my thought. That's my thought process. It felt like this guy was fundamentally and completely insincere. And all he was trying to do, really, and this is pretty obvious, was to salvage his sinking ship by being on Tim Pool. And saying, oh, I apologize to her. I apologized to her then, and I apologized to her the next day, and I apologize. I'm sorry. It's insincere, He's only saying that because he figures that it's the way to maintain his grift. So anyway, so this fucker, he tries to explain away the situation. Tim Pool immediately gets all kinds of heat for seeming to be simping and protecting Jack Murphy. Tim Pool has had a rotten week. Some wigger was out on his show and caused all kinds of mayhem. I didn't actually see that clip, but Tim Pool has not had an easy week, that's for sure. Then the next day, Sydney Watson does a video debunking Jack Murphy's lies and obfuscations, right? All kinds of bad. And then last night, December 28th, boom, motherfucker, boom. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, before we get going, let me just, something I forgot to do. Here's a picture of his girlfriend. Okay. His girlfriend, fiance, wife, I don't know what the fuck she is, but she's the girl who fucked Matt from Tinder 6 years ago and is with him now. Apparently she runs a podcast of her own. And I'd do her. I mean, at least from the pictures I've seen her, she's got a pretty face. And every picture I've seen is basically of her I've seen is from the waist up. So I don't know if she's like one of these like pear-shaped women, like Hillary Clinton, that they've got like a normal sized head and nice face, and normal sized boobs and body. But then you get to the hips and they're like, like the fucking Titanic. You know what I mean? And duck lips. Yeah, she obviously, does filler. And the thing is, her face is like so, but you get that probably, all kinds of surgeries and whatnot, Botox and whatever the fuck. She's using all that shit. So anyway, but she looks good, right? And there's Jackie Boy behind her. So anyway, so what happens last night? Oh my God. What happens last night is this. This comes out. Yeah. See, it turns out that Jackie Boy back in the day, Jackie Boy back in the day, and I'm unclear as to when this was filmed, right? But he did some amateur porn. He did some amateur porn and loaded it up to Chatterbait which I haven't been able to get on, by the way, because I'm here in Ukraine, and Ukraine doesn't allow internet users to get on ChatterBait, or perhaps ChatterBait doesn't allow users from Ukraine to get on it. Whatever the case may be. So I don't really know what the fuck ChatterBait is. Okay, I'm assuming it's sort of like Pornhub, and that you can upload videos and get money for them, because that's the thing. Apparently, Jackie Boy got some cash for his videos, right? And what came out was this came out. I don't know if you can see it properly. This is as good as I'll be able to put it up on YouTube, right? But basically, this is a Russian website. It's gaytorrent.ru. And look, I mean, if you're curious about it, I'll tell you right now how you can find it. All you have to do is what I did to find the actual site. Google Big Bad Beard, all one word, on ChatterBait. And you'll find it almost instantly. And if you still don't find it easily, it's on the site called gaytorrent.ru. Gay as in homosexual, gaytorrent, TORRENT, all one word, gaytorrent.ru. And like I said, Big Bad Beard on ChatterBait. It'll instantly take you to the torrent of this shit, and you'll be able to enjoy. I did not download this shit. No, because see, I'll tell you right now, the porn I like is like, really pretty girls in like nice settings. And I like lesbian porn. I don't want to see somebody else's cock. No. Okay. That's the porn I like. It's normal porn, right? None of this decadent, degenerate shit of ugly people. Okay. The thing that I really object to is really the aesthetics of it, right? There's some fat middle-aged guy, hairy, balding with a ugly beard. I don't want to see him. It's not going to turn me on. No. Okay. So I'm not going to download this shit. But if you want to, feel free. And if you don't believe me, like I said, I've given you all of I've given you everything that you need to go and find this shit. Oh my God, man. I woke up this morning, I'm having my morning coffee, right? I'm having my morning coffee, and it was a good night. I slept real well, my 8 hours, no problem. I wake up, I'm having my cup of coffee, I'm going through my phone, looking for my Twitter feed, right? And I come across some people talking about this shit. I go to my Telegram feed and some more of this shit, and I come across this shit, and I'm like, dude, man, come on. No. What? Here we are. This is the degeneracy of our society, man. A paladin of masculinity is into all kinds of pornographic shit. Look, the picture I saw, which I can't post on YouTube for obvious reasons, the picture I saw was of this guy. I swear to God, oh my man, I can't believe this image. It's burned into my brain, and I'm going to describe it, and hopefully it'll get burned in your brain and relieve me of the burden of this shit in my head. Okay, he's like looking directly at the camera. He's completely naked, and he's got that fuzz of hair all over him. He's looking right at the camera. He's sitting like on the floor with a couch behind him, and multiple people have said that's his living room, because they've compared other pictures of him, and yes, that's definitely his living room. He's sitting on the floor on a pillow from his sofa, his legs spread open rather, right? He's masturbating, and he's got a dildo up his ass. Yeah. That was the image that confronted me this morning. Okay. And dude, it was like, I wasn't sure whether I want to spit out my coffee or throw up or just look away or whatever the fuck. When I saw that image, I'm like, holy fucking shit. Okay. And I mean, funny shit. Funny shit. So this morning, late last night in the States, early this morning, my time, and this all started happening around 10 p.m. or so. This shit is all over the fucking internet, man. I mean, holy fucking shit, right? The torrent surfaces, right? And there, like I said, I showed it. The podcast where he reiterated his fetish, I played it for you before. Yeah, that floats out there, I mean, all kinds of disaster, right? It's fucking funny. And then here comes, oh, this is like the cherry on the sundae, man. Because like yesterday, all kinds of people were doing videos about this shit and laughing and mocking him and just like, and doing this faux outrage, Jack Murphy, you're such a a role model for young people and so forth. And why are you doing this? It was just bullshit. It's just try to milk this shit for all it's worth, right? And then last night, right? Jackie Boy here, as we should probably call him, John Goldman, that's his real name. He posts this. My fiance and I, the victims of a revenge porn scandal by sexual predator The Quartering, a close associate of Sydney Watson, Elijah Schaefer, that was Sydney Watson's co-host on that show of theirs, and others at The Blaze. I hate bringing attention to this, but this is sexual violence and beyond the pale. Glenn Beck, what say you? Okay. I have it up there. See, here's the thing. See, you all know I don't like The Quartering. We've had a few interactions. I think he's a fucking idiot. I think he's a fucking loser and a clout chaser who'll chase whatever trend to get more audience and get more money. And the guy is a general piece of shit, right? Whether he's a sexual predator or not, never heard of that specifically. So I'm saying that sounds like bullshit. And that he's a close associate of Sydney Watson and Elijah Schaefer, that's news to me. As far as I know, they don't work together at all. I mean, The Quartering, Jeremy, what's his face, does not work at The Blaze. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Yeah, and the revenge porn, well, it's not revenge porn if you fucking published it yourself now, is it? See, if I, have a girlfriend and I videotape her, giving me a blowjob or whatever, right? And then we break up and whatever, and I've got this video and I put it out there. That's revenge porn. Yeah, of course. That's revenge porn. But see, if there's some girl that I fucked, right? And she films herself giving me a blowjob. She doesn't film me. She just films herself giving my enormous uncircumcised cock. It really is massive, by the way. Giving my enormous uncircumcised cock a blowjob. She films herself, but doesn't show me, of course, just my cock. And then she posts that on her OnlyFans. That's not revenge porn. See? He filmed himself. He posted this shit on Chatterbait. He got money for it, which of course makes him an amateur porn star. Because if he were a professional, he would have been paid up front. See, I personally, if I ever do porn, it'll be professional. I'll get paid substantially before I take my fucking clothes off. I'm not going to fucking do some degeneracy like this idiot and then, fingers crossed, post it up in the internet and fingers crossed, hope that somebody throws shekels my way. What the fuck was he thinking? I mean, quite apart from the fact that this is just decadent and degenerate, how stupid can you fucking possibly be? But, well, here you go. So anyway, this asshole puts up this tweet. And to tell you the truth, I saw it on my Telegram feed, on the Telegram chat, by the way. And there was a guy who posted, a guy called YG, okay? And I, to tell you the truth, I thought that this was bullshit because it just seemed too impossible to be true. And he was like, no, he deleted it. But here is the screenshot. And that is the screenshot. As you can see, this is Eastern time, so around 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, apparently. He posted this shit. And as you can see, there you have the number of the tweet. I'm sorry, it's not like a simple link that I can post for you. Actually, wait, I think I might have it actually, like the actual fucking link. Okay. It's perfectly useless because of course, now it's invalid. But hang on. I think I do have it. Wait, no. Wait. Oh no, I don't. No, I don't. I'm sorry. I kind of like blue balled you there with the link, but it doesn't really matter because if you'd gone to the link, it would have said, tweet deleted. But this is real. And multiple people took screenshots that are floating out there. This is real. He actually wrote this shit. Okay. So I'm just saying that so that you know that this is factual and this is confirmed factual. Okay. And it's not like a trolling account where it looks like the name, but you actually discover that, for instance, the lowercase L is actually an uppercase I, and they're like trolling or trying to pretend to be, or they're spoofing the. No. It's actually his, and he actually wrote this shit. He actually tried to get what's her face, Sydney Watson, and her partner in the podcast, Elijah Schaefer, fired from the Blaze. Okay, and yeah, claiming that they're pushing revenge porn. I don't think that they were pushing this shit at all. It just floated out there, and the quartering, if all is false, he's not going to bother to do digging. He found this shit and spewed it out there and told people about it, right? Which is his fucking job. I mean, that's his fucking job. He is supposed to do that. That's what he does on the fucking internet, right? I mean, I don't like the son of a bitch, the quartering, right? But he's just doing his regular job, no different from Tim Pool, talking about, I don't know, some fucking earthquake in Peru or whatever the fuck Tim is going to be talking about. You know what I mean? It's perfectly legitimate. And that the quartering and Sydney Watson and Elijah Schaefer all like conspired and like, rubbing their hands together, like, you know what? And saying, "Oh, we're going to put revenge porn." Hey. No, this shit just came out. And if the quartering hadn't pushed it on his Twitter feed or wherever the fuck he pushed it, I don't know where he pushed it, to tell you the truth. Somebody else would have done it. Lots of people would have done it. Fuck it. Toad McKinley is out there pushing this shit. Good on him. It's fucking funny, right? So anyway, this cocksucker, Jack Murphy, is pushing this notion that it's revenge porn, which is just bullshit. And he's passive aggressively calling on Sydney Watson and Elijah Schaefer's boss, i.e. Glenn Beck and the Blaze, to fire them because of something that they didn't do. Because, and that kind of knee-jerk response, that the first impulse he has is to fuck over other people and to call on authority. To call on authority. Let me. I want you fuckers to see my face when I say this shit, right? Because this cocksucker, he's calling on higher authority, like that little pissant little pipsqueak fuckstick in kindergarten or first grade or second grade or whatever, where you're like shoving the kid aside, because you want to get on the swing or whatever the fuck, and the kid falls. It's like, teacher, he pushed me. I'm a little fucking bitch, right? The kind of kid you want to beat the shit out of on general principle. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The kind of leftist bullshit that so many SJWs and all the rest of it do all the time, I mean, remember that back in the day when they used to say, fuck Trump, morning, noon, and night? And then, one guy says, let's go Brandon, and trolls stupid Biden into repeating the phrase. And everybody's like, oh, I'm outraged. I'm fucking hypocritical bastards, right? Same fucking thing with this Jack Murphy fuckstick, I mean, real fucking just, dude, man, what the fuck, right? Anyway, where am I on the fucking outline? I find that kind of behavior really fucking reprehensible. He pulled it down probably because the negative reaction just clued him in almost instantly that it was a bad fucking idea, right? But it's just what a low piece of shit. I mean, it's just low. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Right now, Jack Murphy, TM Goldman, is now the laughingstock of the internet, and with good reason. Come on. I mean, this is some belated Hollywood cheer, huh? I mean, this is fucking funny. This is great. This is, makes up for the whole shitty year that 2021 has been. You know what I mean? But there are some important lessons to be learned from this entire little fucking episode. Okay. And let's talk about them. I mean, yeah, I'm a fucking Coach Red Pill. I ought to teach you fuckers something out of this whole shit show. In fact, there's a lot to be learned from this shit show. A surprising amount to be learned, to tell you the truth. I'm not kidding. I'm being dead serious. There's a lot to be learned from this shit show. And so let's get to it. Okay, so the lessons to be learned. Number one, okay, own your shit. Never get defensive. Okay? Never get defensive. See, when somebody hits you in a soft spot, of course, a lot of times they'll hit you in a soft spot and you're not expecting it. That happens all the time. I mean, that's the whole point. Okay? I mean, again, let me just show my face so that you guys can see my expression and see what I'm trying to convey. Because a lot of times it's not merely the words, it's also the expression and the demeanor. See, when somebody hits you in a soft spot, they want a reaction from you. That's why they're doing it. Okay? And see, they'll only know it's a soft spot if you react to it. Uh, let me give you a simple example. I have a lazy left eye, this one, okay? And what happens is a lot of times I'm looking at something straight ahead, but this eye sort of like drifts away. And it's like looking in that direction. Huh? It can be fucking unnerving. Now, of course, when I was little, you know, it was all kinds of embarrassing and all the rest of it. A lot of times I didn't look at people in the eye because I didn't want my left eye to go off and look at something else, right? And the thing is, see, when people point it out, it doesn't bother me. Back when I was a kid, it really bothered me. And back when I was a kid, a lot of kids would make fun of me because of it, and it just drove me up the wall. But the great thing about kids is that they bully you so relentlessly sometimes that they do it and do it and do it and overdo it to the point where you're like, yeah, okay, fine. And you get over it. See? And that's why I'm in favor of bullying, by the way. I think that kids should be allowed to bully one another, you know, within more or less reason. But the reason should be, I mean, those limits should be very elastic, because a lot of times for the kid who's being bullied, it's a good thing. In my own case, you know, if somebody says, oh, you know, you're cross-eyed or you have a lazy left eye, I'm like, yeah, so it just doesn't bother me. See? If I have a real soft spot, well, whatever the fuck. Like, say, for instance, you know, for the sake of argument, suppose I were to say that I'm very defensive about the fact that I'm a lousy football player. I'm making it up. You know, if that were a real soft spot for me, what should I do if somebody says, oh, you're a lousy football player, coach? CRP, you're lousy at football, you know? What should I do? Throw a hissy fit? I throw a hissy fit, I'm broadcasting to the world that that's the thing that bothers me. And what's going to happen? Everybody's going to hit on that thing, because everybody's going to know all of a sudden, oh, that's his soft spot. Let's ring that soft spot like a fucking bell, you know? That's what they're going to fucking do, of course, because that's how people are. So if you ever get hit in a soft spot, you just ignore it. Just like not even ignore it, to go like, what the fuck are you talking about? And just move on, you know? I mean, sort of like shrug and like for instance, if you were to say to me, CRP, you're a lousy football player, right? I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, I mean, I'd be like, dude, what's the matter with you? You know, of course, because of course it's a trivial accusation. And so you have to think of it in those terms. If I were to say to you, oh, you're a lousy checker player, okay, or a lousy backgammon player, something trivial that you don't really give a shit about, right? You have to think, well, how would I react to that accusation that I'm a lousy backgammon player? I'd be indifferent. And I'd look at the guy like, what the fuck? And you should practice that, so that when they actually do hit you with the soft spot, when they hit you with something that really does hurt, you'll know what reaction to have, and you'll apply that reaction. And you won't throw a hissy fit like Jack Murphy did on Sydney Watson's show. See? Because him telling her to go fuck herself created the situation. And that's the irony here. For a guy who's selling masculinity, he failed as a man. Because what did I say earlier? That the definition of a man is an individual who can control his emotions and use his reason, his logic, his acquired knowledge and experience to control his actions. Control his actions for his benefit in the short term, the medium term, and the long term. And Jack Murphy, by throwing a hissy fit, well, he showed that he's not a man. See? Because being a man is not, 50 repetitions of 200 pounds on the fucking whatever, the fuck machine. No, that's not being a man. And it's not like speaking deeply and seriously and slowly so you understand every word I say. No, come on. Huh? Being a man is controlling yourself, controlling your emotions, especially when you get hit in the things where you are weak, the things that are sensitive to you, the things that hurt you. That's the point. That's what it is to be a man. To not allow your enemies, your opponents, to realize, that's his weakness. That's the thing I have to hit. I have to ring it like a doorbell. I have to ring it and ring it and ring it, because that's his soft spot. That's the thing that riles him up. You can't ever allow that to happen. You think that on the fucking internet, Lots of times, cocksuckers have said things to me that really fucking hurt. Of course they have. And the funny thing is, a lot of times they haven't even realized what really hurt because I treat all of the accusations the same. It's going like, oh, whatever the fuck. I don't care. It's not that I'm indifferent, okay? Or let me phrase it. It's not that I ignore them necessarily. I just dismiss them equally. And so the guys who really hate my guts, and you all know that there are a whole boatload of people who hate my fucking guts, right? Well, all those people, they don't really know what my soft spots are because I've never thrown a hissy fit whenever they've actually hit on target something that actually hurts me. See? Jack Murphy, by throwing that hissy fit, he essentially created his own target on his own back. See? Don't do that. Don't allow yourself to get a rise out of something that truly hurts you. You have to control yourself. That's what it is to be a man. It's not projecting hypermasculinity. It's not acting like you're Schwarzenegger or some shit like that. It's not lift. No, it's controlling your emotions. And not, I mean, this issue of amused mastery that this cocksucker, Jack Murphy, AKA John Goldman, he kept insisting, well, he said the one time, he said, I should have treated it with amused mastery. No, because he's being insincere. He's not controlling himself. Controlling yourself, huh? That's the first fucking lesson, okay? Let me go back to the fucking outline so you cocksuckers will get something out of this, okay? Yeah. The other thing, getting offended or getting mad, that's just a sign of weakness. Yeah, well, it's just a sign of weakness, bottom line. Okay, the thing that he should have said, okay? The thing that he really should have said is that he should have said, not that he was into cuckolding. I mean, bad enough that he has a fucking article on cucking, right? And that's bad enough. But he should have said, yeah, I pimped her out. So what? If he'd said that, he would have been fine. You see, because what's going on with the issue of cuckolding is the issue of power and control. Because if you get right down to it, pimping and cuckolding are exactly the same thing. You got a woman and she's out there fucking some other man. It's the same fucking thing, pimping and cuckolding. Same exact fucking thing. But why is pimping respectable and cuckolding is not? Very simple. Because you see, the pimp truly does control the situation. He's turning out his woman and telling her, go out there and make me my money and bring me my money. Go out there and peddle your ass and, fuck some guys, suck some guy's cock and bring me my money. And, a lot of pimps are very violent towards their hookers. Oh, yeah. It's not a pretty life at all. This whole notion of the sex worker being like great and all that shit. What the fuck are you talking about? It's horrible. Okay. Anyway, the point of this the situation with pimps, right? A pimp is in control of the situation. That's why a pimp is fundamentally respectable. Okay. I mean, he's low and decadent and disgusting. And I personally would not associate with a pimp under any circumstances. But he's shitloads more respectable than a cuckold because in a cuckold situation, the woman has control. And that is why so many of Jack Murphy's audience have turned on him so vehemently. Because you see, so many of his audience members are young men who feel powerless. They feel powerless for two reasons. Number one, they were born unlucky. They're in the bottom range of the male hierarchy. And they don't like the fact. Of course they don't. Nobody likes being on the low end of the totem pole. And so they feel unhappy about that. They also feel unhappy about the fact that our society in the past, it used to be a much more equitable society. Guys who are lower on the totem pole could aspire to and get a loving, happy family, a nice home of their own, a decent job that gave them a sense of purpose and self-worth. But now our society has turned, it's turned for the worse, quite frankly, because what's happened is, of course, the people who win are the guys at the top. Guys like me. That's a fact. See? Whatever you might think of me, I'm a successful guy. I'm successful with money and I'm successful with women. And I have not just my share of women and money, but the shares of a lot of other guys in the sexual hierarchy because we have allowed gross inequalities in life outcomes to emerge. in the pursuit of laissez-faire neoliberal economy and also a laissez-faire social environment where anything goes, we've created the conditions whereby women, 80% of women are chasing the top 20% of men. And the bottom 80% of men, well, they get pretty much nothing. If they're lucky, the guys in the percentile between 21 and 50, they might get some leftover. Some girl who's 30, 32, wants a family desperately and settles for him. She doesn't want him, she just settles for him, right? And that guy in the percentile of 21 to 50, he'll consider himself lucky that he landed some girl, even though he'll know secretly that she doesn't really like him. She doesn't really want to be with him. She just settled for him because he was the best she could get. And the bottom 50%, well, they're shit out of luck. I mean, a lot of those guys, they're going to die virgins. Fuck yeah, And quite frankly, I think it's a catastrophe for our society because, see, revolutions happen when you have a large segment of the male population who has no hope. When they have no hope and they realize they have no hope, that's when they start blowing shit up and burning shit to the ground. And so this large percentage of young men and not so young men who are 30, 40 and realize that they're not going to get anything, that they're going to be virgins until the day they die, all of a sudden they snap and say, fuck it. And they pick up a weapon, they pick up some explosives and start doing shit. Yeah, this is very dangerous. Okay. And this isn't like something fucking new. Okay. Throughout history, the revolutions have always started because of dissatisfied men who've got nothing and have no hope for a future. They're the ones who start shit. Yeah. They start shit, and the people who suffer, the people at the top. The people at the top, they get their heads chopped off. Yeah, that's what fucking happens inevitably. And I'm not saying this, it's not like a threat or anything. It's just looking at history. This happens all the fucking time. It's happened again and again and again. And the successful societies are the societies that figure out a way to get these lower tier guys, number one, working for the benefit of the society, and number two, pacify them with a wife and a family. I mean, basically throw pussy their way. That's how successful societies flourish. In the United States, everybody can agree that the 1950s, 60s, and 70s were very successful decades, right? What was going on? Most people, they got married. Most guys, low-tier guys, factory workers and whatnot. They had a wife, a kid, a couple of kids, a nice house, and a couple of cars in the garage. They were pacified. They threw pussy and money their way, and the society was functioning, right? And now you wonder why things are going tits up. Well, now you know. Okay. So anyway, I strayed afield from what the fuck I was talking about, but I figured that part of this bullshit of live streaming and all the rest of it is for me to talk about shit. So anyway, where the fuck was I? I'm totally lost in this thing. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So number one, I strayed far afield from what I wanted to talk about, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, cuckolding. Yeah, his audience saw him as a man without power. He had been projecting himself as a man with power, that he controlled things. But if he's a cuck, that is, he is powerless. That is, his woman controls him. Then, of course, they want no part of him. Of course not. That's why. And see, this brings us to problem number two, the lesson number two. Never pander. Always believe what you say. Never pander. Okay? Never. Jack Murphy, a.k.a. John Goldman, got caught between two panders. Back in 2015, he was pandering to this bullshit that cucking is the thinking man's fetish. He was trying to get in good with what he perceived to be the zeitgeist at the time. That's why I wrote the fucking article. He wouldn't have written the article if he didn't think that he'd get in good with some audience or other. At that time, he hadn't recognized that the leftists, the SJWs, they're the loudest, but they're a very small audience. They can't sustain you, okay? The audience that can sustain you is the strong, silent type of the right-wing guys. There are lots of them, and so that's what he pivoted to. And in 2021, he was pandering to the macho man crowd. Yes, I took it from the Village People song, macho man, yeah. Because it's funny, because it's kind of true and it's kind of gay. Okay. I mean, if we're being sincere about it, yeah. Those guys who are all about lift and all this other bullshit, kind of gay. But anyway, the macho man crowd, he started catering to them, okay, as this hyper masculine guy. And of course, it helped the fact that he had a fairly attractive girlfriend, fiance. There are tons of pictures of him with this woman, right? And yeah, up close and personal, she's probably not that attractive. I mean, too much plastic surgery. But on pictures, I mean, she's Instagram beautiful, right? And that probably helped his brand quite a bit. It helped his brand and got him a lot of subscribers to his liminal order TM, you know, and got a lot of people to pay up $100 a month, $1,000 a year, or $3,990 for a lifetime membership. I bet he got a lot of people to sign up for his bullshit because of his pretty girlfriend, wife, or whatever the fuck she is, right? And so he's pandering to one crowd, but back in the day, he was pandering to another. And so he got squeezed. He got caught between a rock and a hard place. Okay. There's a saying, you know, you don't need much to remember when you tell the truth. And this is very, very true. See, liars always get caught because they forget their lies. Of course, it's inevitable. Okay. Because we always forget our lies. We always forget stories. Okay. We never forget things that actually happened. Huh? So what happens is the same is going on with pandering. If you're a guy of one line and you believe the shit that you're talking about, you don't have to remember what you said, and you don't have to worry about later changing your mind or amplifying what you thought or whatnot. Well, within reason. I'll explain that in just a minute. Okay. But for the most part, you can, you can, if you are not pandering and if you're truly saying what you believe, then you got no problem. Okay. Over time, you'll be saying pretty much the same thing. And if you do change your mind, you'll have no problem in saying, I've totally changed my mind. I was a fucking idiot back in the day, or totally wrong. I mean, like, for instance, back in March, April of last year and into early May of 2020, right? I was looking at this whole pandemic shit and I was like freaking the fuck out. Yeah, I thought this shit was the end of the world. The novel The Stand, but, made real. I was freaking the fuck out. And you fuckers remember that? I certainly do. But then, there weren't the dead people that they'd promised. That was the thing. That's the thing that clued me in that it was all bullshit. See? I wasn't seeing any dead homeless people. I was living in Amsterdam at the time, and there aren't that many homeless people in Amsterdam, right? But they're fucking hardcore homeless people, right? And I was thinking, well, how come they're not dead yet? And I'd ask them, yes, I talk to homeless people. No, they don't bite, and they don't have bubonic plague. They're the nicest people imaginable, okay? And a lot of times, homeless guys will know all kinds of shit about the neighborhood, and that's why you should cultivate them. Yeah, I'm dead serious. But anyway, the point about talking to the homeless people, I asked them if anybody that they knew of the homeless community had died, and they were like, no. No, the usual OD and shit, but nobody had died of COVID. And that really kind of clued me in. And then, you see the numbers, and they're not dying the way they should. I mean, there should be like thousands of deaths in fucking Amsterdam. I mean, they sold this shit like the bubonic plague. And, slowly I realized that we'd been played. And I've said that. I've said that I got played. I got fooled. And I don't quite understand how it happened or why the Chinese did all those videos that now I look at them and I'm like, dude, that looks obviously fake, like fucking something out of Lonely Girl 15. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, how did I fall for this shit? I guess part of me wanted to believe it. And anyway, it doesn't really matter. The point is, see, I realized that I was wrong. I've said so. I don't have a problem saying when I'm wrong. Nobody who's an adult has a problem saying when they're wrong. But see, a guy who's pandering, he doesn't believe in anything. And that's the key issue with old Jack Murphy here. Okay? See, this fucker, bottom line, I don't give a fuck. I mean, I still want to have him on my channel to answer all this shit. But this fucker doesn't believe in a single fucking thing that he says. Nothing he says is sincere. Nothing. He doesn't believe in anything. And so what happens is that this kind of fate was inevitable. See? Because if you exist only to pander people, eventually you're going to wind up in this situation where the previous pander comes back to haunt you. Okay? like the old lie that you told that now you want to say, well, no, that didn't actually happen. Same fucking thing. See? And that's what happened to the guy. Huh? Let me give you an example of something that happened to me. Back in the day, like, when was it, 2008 or so, I started writing a financial blog. It was really a blog to where I could express my ideas about what was going on in the financial markets, because I was neck deep in that shit. I was managing some money, not a hell of a lot. It was like, I don't know, mid 8 figures, and I was like managing it and trying to figure out, what the fuck to do with this whole chaos that's going on in the markets and so forth, right? And so I figured, well, I'll like do this blog because I discovered Google Blogspot, right? And I started writing a financial blog. And after a while, it took off, right? Because, well, I'm a good writer. Of course, it's going to take off eventually. So the fucking thing took off. And I don't know, my heyday was like 2010, 2011, shit like that. And there were these people. What would happen was I post something, and these other outlets would run my articles, okay? These aggregation sites and whatnot. And I'd get like hundreds of thousands of views for pieces I'd written. Serious, a lot of fucking big fucking audience, right? I posted some shit, it got picked up by Business Insider, all kinds of shit. Anyway, the point is that, see, at one point there was one Austrian website, Lou Rockwell. And see, Lou Rockwell, they're all Austrians, right? And I've always had problems with Austrians, man, because some of the thing strikes me as just a different kind of ideology. Mhm. Yeah, I'm not going to get into the specifics of why I object to it, but it's like, I basically think that a lot of their ideas are a priori presumptions that don't make a hell of a lot of sense. And they kind of like work, but they're kind of like a hit or miss kind of a priori assumptions that they just posited them, but they don't have an actual explanation for them. And they sort of like dance around that issue and pretend that they do when they really don't. But anyway, that's not important for this conversation. The important thing is that, see, in one of my articles, I basically mocked the Austrians. And Lou Rockwell, he himself got really fucking pissed off at me, and he banned me forever, right? And I was like, shit, man, that sucks, But I mean, I should have realized it was going to happen, but I wasn't thinking because I wasn't trying to pander. I was just expressing what I thought. It was genuine what I thought. Okay, whether I was right or wrong is irrelevant. Whether Lou Rockwell and the Austrians are completely right and I was completely wrong, that's not the point. The point is, see, I didn't trim my sails and espouse something that I didn't believe in order to get on Lou Rockwell's site. I respect the fact that he kicked me off the site because he didn't see me as a fellow Austrian. Okay, I respect that. I don't have a problem with him. I'm certainly not bitter towards him. And I'm not upset about it. I mean, he must have been more upset than I. Because I was thinking, well, I don't really believe this shit. So why am I going to say it? See? That's the attitude that you should have. See? Because if you wind up pandering, you're going to wind up saying things that you don't believe in. And you're going to be stuck. And that's the problem. You're going to be stuck pushing something that you don't believe. And eventually, sooner or later, you'll slip up. You'll slip up and let out what you actually believe in. And then all the people that you've been pandering to will look at you as a traitor because you are. You're betraying them. And you're betraying them why? Because you want their approval for what reason? For the shekels? Is that why you're pandering and saying things that you don't believe? Jack Murphy, okay, so he has this cuckolding fetish and this peeing fetish and all this disgusting, degenerate shit. Fine. There are all kinds of degenerate people out there in the world. Well, and I've got degeneracies and decadences of my own. Fuck it, I mean, I think that, psychedelics are the bee's knees, right? And that's pretty fucking degenerate if you think about it. But anyway, the point. See, this fucker, he is into cuckolding, right? Let me just fix my camera here a little bit. He's into cuckolding, right? Fine. He's into water sports. Delightful euphemism, by the way. Oh, fine, But don't pretend to be something that you're fucking not. Don't pretend to be, this trad guy, right-wing guy, masculine guy. No. And on top of that, you got the list, man. You're gay. Come out. Because he kept insisting. That's the other thing that kind of bothers me. If you're gay, just say that you're gay. Don't like dance around the issue. And don't deny it, vehemently when you are. When your attitude is gay or at least bisexual, right? And fuck it, man. If I'm in the room with another guy and we're naked and he has an erect cock and I have an erect cock, that's pretty fucking gay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Jack Murphy, he's in a bedroom, fine, with his fiance, wife, whatever the fuck she was, with his fiance, wife. He's got a hard on, and there's a second guy, also naked, but I mean, just totally naked and with an erection. Dude, that's pretty fucking gay. Okay, you should just come out. I mean, come on, be loud and proud. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, but you see, it's a serious point. Never pander. Because the people that you pander to, when they discover that you're lying to them, they will hate you with a vehemence. I mean, the only people who are going to follow Jack Murphy are the diehards of his following, the real diehards, okay, and the people who are completely ignorant of what's happened. And there are such people, by the way. You'd be surprised. There are lots of people who don't have any fucking idea. They don't follow the internet that closely. Certainly not as closely as you or I do. But the point is that, see, he will have an audience, a very, very small audience. He will have it, and they'll follow him for a while. Okay, and if he keeps at it, well, he'll have the same fate as Kraut. Kraut and T. He completely destroyed himself. I mean, that was fucking funny. I mean, it really was. Even though I was like in the middle of that fucking shit show, it was really objectively goddamn funny. He completely exploded and imploded. Just a fucking mess. And his own shit, I mean, the cherry on the sundae was when when Kraut, when everything was going south, right? He does this video, and he accuses one of his minions, a guy called Zeph, of being the mastermind of everything, right? And like within hours, Zeph posts a whole bunch of recordings, audio recordings from Discord of Kraut masterminding all his gay op bullshit. And it just blew Kraut out of the fucking water. This is December of 17, right? It took him like a good 18 months, closer to 2 years maybe, for Kraut to finally start to come back and produce content. And he's become very successful by completely pivoting. I mean, now he's like a total leftist. He's basically the guy that before he used to criticize and make videos attacking, because that's what he always was. He's a German guy. He's Kraut. He's a fucking, left-wing commie fuckstick. I mean, he's the kind of guy that we're going to be shooting when the revolution comes. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Kraut went back to being who he actually was. And I suspect that he's actually happier now of actually espousing all his leftist bullshit and all of his incredibly mistaken historiography. I mean, he has no fucking idea about history, and he does videos about history, and they're all wrong. I mean, that's fucking funny. But anyway, yeah, they're all wrong. I've watched a couple of Kraut's videos, and Kraut, you're watching, dude. You and I both know that you're wrong about so much of yours. You're factually wrong, okay? And I'll just point out one fact. See, Voltaire had no opinion on the French Revolution, and he did not approve of the French Revolution as you claim he did, because Voltaire died years before the French Revolution. You were wrong about that. You're wrong about a whole bunch of other shit. On the Turkish history you want? Come on, what the fuck are you talking about on that one? Anyway, I'm not going to get into a shit with Kraut again, because fuck that. He's a fucking loser. I just wanted to talk about this whole shit show because there are lessons to be learned. There are lessons to be learned. Yeah. Oh yeah, final point that I forgot to mention was the grief I got over my changing beliefs on marriage. And that's a minor issue. Well, actually, that's the third issue. Another issue that, yeah. On the internet, the one sin is inconsistency, okay? This is assuming that you don't come back from the dead, like Kraut did, right? Kraut died in December of 17. And a year or two later, he comes back from the dead. I think it was like late 2018 and into early 2019 that he started doing content again that had pivoted away from what he had been doing before and started having some success with it. Okay. Jack Murphy, that's the only solution that he has. And he has to pivot away from what he used to be doing because, now nobody's going to want to associate with him. Nobody. I mean, not all of his diehards, they fled. I mean, there's like I said before, there's that hardcore of diehards that will stick with him. And some of them I do believe will probably be insincere. And they're kind of like pretending to be Jack Murphy's, aka John Goldman's friends, just so they can get dirt and spew it around some more for the lulz. There's that kind of faction, of course, inevitably. But for the most part, the people who will be around him are going to be a very, very tiny group. Okay. And there's certainly not going to be enough people to support him financially. Now, on a personal note, see, again, let me show my face so that I'm being truly sincere when I say this. See, reading this guy's blogs and shit like that, right? So he's saying in his 2015 blog that he had been in a blue-pilled marriage. Whatever the fuck. That just sounds, what the fuck you talking about? But anyway, whatever the fuck. He had been in a marriage and it had gone tits up. And that happens to a lot of people. And it's a very unfortunate thing. And it had grown, from his own description, he says that it had grown loveless, sexless, that it was pulling him down, weighing him down. And that the therapist that he had gone to with his wife, the couples therapist or whatever, had basically said it was all his fault, which I've noticed a lot of people say. That a lot of people, a lot of guys, go to some couples therapy. And, in any couple, there are problems on both sides of the equation, inevitably. Okay. Like in any partnership, see, a partnership that starts to decay, there's usually blame enough to go around for everybody, for all the participants, no exception in a marriage. But a lot of these couples therapists, they automatically take the side of the wife, be they a man or a woman, by the way, because it's sort of like the reflex position, which is really unfair. And Jack Murphy mentioned that, and it would have been great if he'd mentioned that some more. But anyway, the point is that he had said that he had been in a bad marriage and that, he had been divorce raped. Oh, by the way, Jim, Mr. Medicare, did a video on this topic before the pornography shit came out, right? And he had mocked the article, the cuck article, saying that he had been raped. No, we all understand that he meant divorce raped. Jim used to be a better guy than he is now. He's kind of pathetic, bottom line. But anyway, so Murphy, aka Goldman, got divorce raped, and his life was in the shitter. And frankly, if he's doing amateur porn to actually pick up some money, that he's in bad shape. Okay, if not financially, then certainly in the head. And come on, we've all been there. Okay, you watching me and listening to me now, don't give me this bullshit that your life has been smooth sailing all the time. No, it hasn't. Because if you're a man, if you're a human being, you've had your ups and downs, and some of the downs were real fucking low. And I bet on some of the low times that you've had, you've done some really, really fucking stupid shit. How do I know this? Without knowing you as a person, as an individual? Because it's happened to me. It's happened to everybody. We all go through like really low times, and we really do stupid shit that later we're like, what the fuck was I thinking, man? I mean, come on. It happens all the time. It happens to all of us, to the best of us. Okay. So to claim that you're immune from that is just immature. Okay. I mean, you're lying, but it's a dumb lie. It's an immature lie. Don't lie about it. Okay. You've gone through low periods. So I have nothing but compassion for John Goldman. I mean this sincerely. When he went through rough times. And I actually look at his Chatterbait videos. Well, I didn't see them, but you know what I mean? I look at that whole episode and I realize what must have happened. He must have been just really hitting rock bottom, and perhaps he needed money, perhaps out of some desperate need for something, attention, love, something. He did these stupid videos, okay? And he put them out there, and now they're there forever. And most people, quite frankly, are not going to be particularly compassionate. On the contrary, they're going to mock him. Fuck it. I feel compassion towards him, but I still mocked him for it because it's fucking funny, right? It's really fucking funny. But you understand how poor bastard. I really, just poor bastard. Yeah, like I said, I'm not. I understand, because I was about to say I'm not putting the man down. I've been putting him down the whole fucking live stream. But I understand. And you should too. And you should be very careful about your own life. and you should be smart in the sense that look at yourself and try to gauge in what bad shape you might be before you do something that can have permanent repercussions. I mean, this guy, he posted some stupid videos on the internet, right? He only made a fool of himself. I mean, he didn't murder anybody. He didn't do something that would send him to prison, right? It's just eternal mockery, perhaps, but not anything that truly harmed somebody else or had the potential to harm somebody else. But if you're ever in like really, really low straits, don't fall for desperation. And it's, of course, when you're in really dire straits, that desperation and panic rules you. But you have to control it. Like I said at the beginning of this broadcast, you have to control your emotions. That's what separates men from every other living organism on this planet, including women and including most males of our species. A man controls his emotions and does not allow them to dictate his actions. When you're desperate, like this Goldman individual was, when you're desperate, when for whatever reason, it's financial, emotional, whatever the fucking reason, but you're desperate, you're panicking, you're at your wit's end. Even at those terribly low moments, you have to control yourself and prevent yourself from doing something truly stupid. And this guy did something truly stupid. He filmed himself doing amateur porn. It's really stupid, right? But it's not life-ending, his own or somebody else's. And there are lots of guys who wind up doing that. They're at their wit's end insofar as the money situation and decide to rob a bank or rob a liquor store with horrifying consequences. We see it all the time. We see the videos on Live Leak. Some idiot walks into a liquor store, 7-Eleven or whatever the fuck, with a gun because the guy, ordinarily, he's not a bad guy, but he's desperate, he's panicked, he needs money. I mean, why the fuck would you steal from a 7-Eleven, for crying out loud? Yeah, for kicks? No. He needed the money for something, right? Whatever the fuck it was. He was so desperate that he made this incredibly stupid decision. He allowed his panic to overwhelm his good sense. And he goes into the 7-Eleven with the gun, and he figures that he'll be able to, get maybe $300-400. And maybe those $300-400 are actually really necessary to buy some food and some diapers for the baby back home. Okay, that happens all the time, especially with fathers when they don't have any money and they start to panic, and that happens all the time. Yeah, they wind up doing stupid shit out of panic, and many times out of very, very good reasons. Yeah, it's not that they want to steal some money to get high on some weed or get drunk. No. A lot of times they'll go out and steal because they need the money for somebody else. Because if it was just them, they wouldn't steal. A lot of times people are like, oh, well, I need some weed and I need this or that, but nah, fuck it. I'll do without. But my woman and my kid need food and diapers or whatever the fuck. And they do something incredibly stupid and they get shot or they wind up shooting somebody else. See? Don't ever allow that to happen to you. And it's so easy for it to happen. Look at this guy. I mean, for whatever you might think of Goldman, a.k.a. Murphy, right? The guy's not an idiot. I know he did stupid shit, but he's not a fool. But he didn't control his emotions. He was not a man. And that's the thing. See, he did not act as a man. He did not control himself. Let that be a lesson to you. Control yourself. Okay. I want to take some questions, comments, and because none of you fuckers are on my Patreon, you are not going to get the invite. Because let me just do this real quick. And let me find my, here we are. Here's my coach stream, my Patreon stream, rather. And there I just posted the StreamYard link so that you guys can pop in and ask questions. And I have a nice, comfy audience, 1,260. And any question I take, let's try to keep it on point as to this shit, okay? The notion of Jack Murphy or the idea of controlling your emotions and controlling your impulses in order to, well, act as a man. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm waiting for people to pop in. And yeah. Anyway, who wants to see Jack Murphy's wife girlfriend? Give me a GF if you want to see the girlfriend, and FN for fuck no if you don't want to see her. She's pretty cute. Hmm? Yeah, the man who loses control loses. Very well said, Seal Beater. I like your name. I like your style. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Later today, I'm going to go down to the beach, and there are like these baby otters, and I'm going to take a baseball bat. You want to come with me? I think we would have a good time. Okay, fuck no, I don't give a fuck. Yeah, let's see the girlfriend. There she is. There she's. Cute little thing, isn't she? Yeah. And she's got that knowing smile, that smile that says, yeah, the guy behind me is my husband, boyfriend, fiance, whatever. But if you got a tasty cock, he'll just sit in the corner and watch. Oh, damn, that's fucking funny. Who's on? Okay, Lewis. Lewis, I'm bringing you on. How's it going, Lewis?
Hello, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I hear you fine. What's on your mind?
Well, I have a book recommendation.
Okay.
The book is Democracy, The God That Failed by Hans Hermann Hoppe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Have
Pretty
you?
famous book. I haven't read it myself. No, not yet.
I think you really should. I found it really interesting. It changed my mind on things. But it also really fit with the ideas and mostly like values that I already had.
Mm-hmm.
Because with political beliefs and stuff like that, there's more a value side and more a theoretical side.
Mm-hmm.
And this is really the theoretical side.
Okay.
Hoppe is a right-wing anarchist paleo-libertarian type.
Mm-hmm. So it's Hoppe, Hoppe, for those of you who don't know, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very different from the usual libertarian crap with open borders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He said things like,
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you, Lewis. I'm laughing
Yeah.
at what I'm about to eat. It's an energy bar that I got here in, oh, there's a camera. An energy bar I got in Ukraine. You guys want to see what it says? What it's called? This is genuine, man.
Wow.
As
Oh,
you
good
can see,
marketing.
yeah. And it's got look. It's got like a little. You guys see it? A little koala. Eat me. Yeah. I thought it was funny. That the only reason I bought it was because of the name. But anyway, yeah. So yeah. Anything else on your mind, Lewis?
No, nothing else.
Okay, great. Thanks for being on, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Anyway, to go back to okay, so there we go. There we go. There's his girlfriend. You know, this picture. Yeah. I didn't crop it. Somebody else did. Now let's assume that they are doing what they are doing. And by the way, like bad dye job, don't you think? You know, it's just really bad dye job. The hair and the beard. It's just too. You know, I mean, his beard is white, and I have a great deal of white in my beard. I mean, you guys saw me before, and yeah, I had all kinds of white. I mean, that's not an issue. The issue is, you know, somebody told me that I should dye my beard. I'm like, fuck that. It would look weird, and he looks weird, huh? Um, it's like he looks youthful in the photograph, but you realize that if you were to see him up close and personal, it would be like fake. And yeah, that's just not my style. Oh, okay. There's St. John who's popped in. Hey, St. John, how's it going? What's on your mind?
Hey, Gonzalo, good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine. What's on your mind?
Just the thing about pandering. It seems that what you said about pandering is true, but it doesn't apply to politicians and also people at high up in corporate America. So I don't really have a question. I'm just making that comment as an observation because all the time
They're
politicians,
pandering. They're
yeah,
pandering.
they pander and they pander and then they say something that conflicts with their previous pander. It never affects them, no matter what. It's like
No, because
it just doesn't
what's
apply to
happening is
them.
that
What you say.
our political situation has become so corrupt. I'm gonna have to mute you, St. John. There's like a lot of background, or can you mute yourself? Um, yeah, thank you, St. John. I appreciate it. If you have something else to say, unmute yourself. That'll be fine. But what I wanted to say is about the politicians is that, see, our system is so incredibly corrupt that the politicians basically, they know who to pander to, and it's not the electorate. They pander to the people who pay money for their campaigns, to the corporations, the rich people. And that's why they're pandering to the populace. It's all so much bullshit. And the other point I wanted to make that I failed to make, that I'll expand on it right now. Then the third point that I wanted to argue in my thing is that, which I'll post. Not that. Let me just. Sorry about that. What the here thing? See, on the internet, the one sin is inconsistency. Now, it's not merely in the internet, it's our entire society. We don't allow people to change their minds. They have to be the one thing. And we change people rather than having good people and allow them to change their minds. For instance, some politician is espousing A, whatsoever, doesn't matter. Cut taxes, right? But we need taxes for other shit. So the guy, that politician, we cannot let him change his mind and say we have to raise taxes. No, because if he does that, we all have a hissy fit, like immature little shits. And that actually happened to George H.W. Bush, the first George Bush, who was actually a very good president. And people don't seem to realize it now, but he was a very, very good president, and exceptionally good president so far as foreign policy is concerned. And he was, no new taxes. But then the economic situation changed and he needed to raise taxes. And everybody threw a hissy fit, which is immature because he was a very capable leader. And he just realized, well, we're going to have to raise taxes. And I said before that we can't raise taxes, but situation has changed. Circumstances have changed. We got to raise them. And they threw him out. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of situation, which happens, it's endemic to our society. What happens is it obliges people to be, quote unquote, consistent. But what it really means is that people are not allowed to be flexible and change their minds. And if they do change their minds, they suffer for it. In my own case, I had really not thought through the issue of marriage. And I flip-flopped a few times. And marriage is a trivial issue in the scheme of things, right? I mean, what your opinion is of marriage, who gives a fuck, right? I got a ton of grief for that kind of like flip-flopping around and trying to make up my mind and think through all the possibilities of marriage, right? I got a shit ton of grief. And it was a trivial issue. And it really bothered me. It bothered me that people gave me grief over something that is trivial. That was small potatoes, because what happens when they give me shit about something major? Well, quite frankly, I'm 53 years old. Everything of any major issue, I've already made up my mind. I've made up my mind, very clearly. Okay. And I'm of one line on the issue, but just by a function of age, because, all these issues, you chew through them in your teenage years and your 20s, right? And then in your 30s, you start to realize more or less what you really think. And then into your 40s and 50s, like I am now, you're like, this is what I think. You put a coat of paint on it at this point. It's what you believe. But there are still smaller issues that, I change my mind, I debate, I think about the different possibilities, and I get grief for it. So why am I bringing this up? Because what happens is that, and this is a lesson to you guys, see, if there are issues that you want to debate and think through and figure out, then make sure you do them privately. That thinking through an issue, especially more important issues, be sure that it's a private thing, and that the different opinions that you try out don't come back later to hurt you. See? Because that's what's going on. You know, the whole cancel culture, what's happening here? They're looking up on old tweets of people and canceling them because of them. And what are these old tweets about? Oh, they're old issues that the person was thinking about, and they were trying out different points of view and different possibilities. They hadn't really made up their minds. I mean, come on, some tweet that somebody put out 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you know, they've changed their minds more likely than not. I mean, especially if it's something like contingent and not that big of a deal. Okay. They probably have changed their minds. Hmm? And because of that, you know, they were trying out different ideas back in the past, but because of that tweet that they put out, that public iteration of an idea that they were testing to see if it fit them, because of that, they get fucked over. So the lesson is, don't put yourself in a position where you are trying out ideas in public, because it'll bite you in the ass later. Mhm. It'll bite you in the ass. I mean, most especially if you have a different idea later than you do today. See? That's the reality of our current society. I mean, we can bitch and moan about it and say that we wish it weren't the case, blah blah, but dude, fuck it. That's the way things are. And you got to work with what you got. And if it's unpleasant and you don't really like it, I agree, but you got to deal with it, like it or not. See? Anyway, yeah, I went on there for a bit. Anything else, St. John?
No, that's all. I appreciate you for the entertaining commentary. Thank you.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for being on. Take it easy. Okay, I'm gonna call it a stream because it's 7 o'clock and I gotta go and get some dinner. You know, but yeah, I just want to say that I feel sorry for this guy. Bottom line, you know, I just feel sorry for him. You know, live by the pander, die by the pander. Hmm? It's a tough situation. It's a tough situation. But bottom line, he did it to himself. He's got nobody to blame but himself. If he hadn't pandered and lied, then this shit would never have happened. Let that be a lesson to you all. Okay? So anyway, you guys take it easy, and I will catch you next time.